Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be very brief and quick on this one actually. Today's playoffs basically have, on Friday, sorry, the 21st of April. More importantly, it's more of a case where um, it was an interesting set of games today, one of which, being a Knicks fan, it was the Knicks versus the Cavs in Madison Square Garden, which played up to the hype where we knew that with the Knicks coming into the game, um, tied 1-1, coming back to Madison Square Garden, playing in Madison Square Garden. This is a game where you don't think the Knicks would lose. They most likely will win this game. In this case, where if they were to lose at home, I think it would have really brought down a lot of things. It would be sort of, I want to say, not disappointing or disheartening, but more of taking the life out of us. Because like everyone was hyped up for this game and such, for with the Knicks coming back to Madison Square Garden with the Cavs being tied 1-1 and the potential of the Knicks coming up 2-1 basically, which turned out to be the case in this case, right? I mean, the Knicks did come out and win 99-79, which was great. One of the big stars, of course, was Brunson. Again, showing full well what Brunson was doing. And the Cavs, let's admit the Cavs, I think they were affected by their home crowd and at Madison Square Garden, and that aura around it. Mitchell was doing decent enough. I think in this case Brunson was definitely the better of the two, basically. And also the fact is that R.J. Barrett stepped up a little bit. So to the point where like he reduced his turnovers, but also increased his field goal percentage a little bit by taking the easy shots, slashing in and going in basically, which was great. It was one of those things where we're finally like we're looking for that essentially, and I mean the stats say otherwise basically. Like the rebounds. Yeah, granted, it was more towards it was towards the Knicks, but not by much. And the assists, of course, were the Knicks and in favor as well too, as well as the steals. Like the Cavaliers did give up a lot of turnovers, and as well as the fact is that the field goal percentage, the Knicks was much more better than the Cavs in this case, as well as the free throw percentage, and as well as the 3-point percentage as well too, which majority of it was coming in from uh, quickly. Well, mostly it's actually Randall, then quickly, and as well as R.J. Barrett, which was great. So this game kind of expected, not I don't want to say exceeded expectations, but it played out to what it should have been basically. We everyone was expecting it from New York's perspective for the win to happen at this point. Now the question is for Game 4, how that turns out at this point. What's the reaction for the Cavs and how they're going to come out in Game 4 at this point? I mean, honestly, this is a game the Cavs actually sort of gave away to the Knicks. I think it's because of the fact that this is one of those things where they were in Madison Square Garden. The fans were pretty much that sixth man or seventh man, whatever you want to call it, where they definitely affected the Cavs at that point as well too. To be quite honest, but we can say this, like it was an interesting thing, and it was kind of expected. The one thing that wasn't expected, as I anticipated, I did anticipate the Hawks to at least win one game in this series. I just didn't think it was going to be like in Game 3. I thought maybe the Celtics would be up 3-0 at this point. Quite honestly, being up 2-1 is not bad. Game 4, you look for the Celtics to rebound at this point. Honestly, the Celtics were down at most by 3, cutting it close. But the Hawks knew how to stay ahead in this game. Same thing with the Nuggets and Timberwolves. In this case, the Nuggets was to be expected. They were going to beat out the Timberwolves, unless Minnesota could do something. They did make a game of it at one point where they were down close to 3 as well too, and they came close, but the Nuggets relentlessly went at them basically at that point. So quite honestly, this day on Friday, was the games that we're playing were great games. Of course, between the series, I think out of all the series, I think the Knicks Cavaliers is the most compelling one, and the next one beyond that, I would say would be basically the I would say it's probably the Sacramento Kings Golden State Warriors game, basically, because quite honestly, that's a game where I think I would not be surprised where essentially, you know what? I would say basically, yeah, that this is the man that basically will be. This will be a game where it'll be interesting to see. How, the series how it will be basically. How things play out basically. Because quite honestly, this is something where you knew. I kind of honestly, I'll admit, thought that the Knicks, not the Knicks, sorry, that the Golden State Warriors would at least come back with one game. Quite honestly, it's just the fact that Sacramento is proving otherwise, and De'Aaron Fox is showing his true capabilities. Quite honestly, I think that's what it comes down to. Is De'Aaron Fox is showing his capabilities at this point. And I mean, honestly, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Game 4 in that series. Quite honestly, as well too, because it's one of those things where it's a game where basically what's his name, Draymond Green, being kicked out. Is it was an interesting factoid from that perspective. But at the same time, it was one of those things where Draymond Green. Now this is where the hypocrisy comes with the NBA now at this point. Like you got Draymond Green getting kicked out based on the fans' outrage. I honestly thought he should have been, but in reality, if you're doing that for him and you're kicking him out, then what Joel Embiid did at yesterday's game in the Nets versus the Nets game, basically kicking towards the groin basically, and it was one granted he shouldn't walked over him a little bit, but at the same time Embiid didn't have to respond by that, but he did. And the NBA chooses, and all he gets was a flagrant 1, not even a flagrant 2, a flagrant 1, which made no sense. Which kind of wonders now, at this point, is are the NBA refs and NBA kind of gearing the teams to be, trying to shape the narrative of the playoffs? Because it seems like it is. Because Joel Embiid should have been ejected from that game, at least gotten a flagrant 2 for sure. He should be suspended. If you're suspending Draymond Green for one game, you gotta suspend Joel Embiid. Now, granted, Joel Embiid is going to be probably out for the next game because of his knee, but at the same time, this is the man that should have been ejected or suspended at least, and they're not. So there's some kind of standard going on where superstars, we're not going to suspend them, but all stars or role players, we can't suspend them. This makes no sense, and I think this is a double standard. Again, this is NBA management. This comes to Silverstein, a gutless coward. He needs to do something, step up, or more so, Dumars has to do something. I mean, honestly, Dumars being this is partly Dumars, but this is mostly Silverstein basically more than anything else. The guy has to step up. I mean, David Stern, I kind of miss him basically. This is a man that knew what to do. Basically, if it was Draymond Green, Embiid would be the exact same thing. He'd be out at this point as well too, quite honestly. So I think that's a case where they have to get rid of him, not get rid of him, but put in a new head of the NBA at this point, new commissioner, quite honestly, and the owners have to come in and play for that aspect or push for that aspect. I'm surprised Cuban's not doing that. I think because of the fact he's got a buddy relationship with them, basically, that's not going to happen at this point, quite honestly. But we'll see what happens. Now, coming down to the other game, which I thought would have been great, which I thought, beside the Knicks and Cavaliers, I thought this series between the Suns and the Clippers would be interesting because, granted, PG is out, Paul George is out. You still had Kawhi Leonard with Westbrook. You thought that was going to be interesting. I thought it was going to be an interesting series, but now Kawhi Leonard is out, and it's one of those things where I think Stephen A. Smith basically called it out. Basically, Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar there is. Not the worst superstar, but is not. This is a guy that basically he was traded from Indiana to San Antonio, did really well in San Antonio, but he was getting injured as well too. Traded from San Antonio to Toronto, helped him win a championship. Then came to the Clippers and did everything he could. Not everything he could, but he basically dictated what players should play with him in the Clippers. And the Clippers abided by his request and brought in PG and such. But the man has been injured for so long, hasn't probably has played maybe 40 to 60, between 40 to 60% of the games that, and I mean, I think between Kawhi and PG together, when they play together on the floor, I think they played maybe 40% of their times together. And now the fact that Kawhi is going to be out, for the game again, it's a case where, like, I think as everyone's calling it, I think it's time for the Clippers to move away from Kawhi, trade him if you can. You did what you did. You thought you were going to get someone, but in reality, I mean, he is great when he plays, but he just seems to be missing most of the time. So I hate to say this, but like, when Kawhi's on, he's on. Let's not deny that. When he's on, he's on. But when he's not there, your team is pretty much gone at that point, and that's what it comes down to, basically. So I hate to say that this man is injury prone, or and they even did the load balancing for him as well too, which is load management basically. They did the load management up for him basically, so that he could, so that this wouldn't happen in the playoffs, which made no sense, quite honestly. And the fact is, like, I hate to say it, but Westbrook is not gonna do this on his own. The Suns are pretty much going to take out the Clippers. I mean, quite honestly, it looks like the Suns are going to advance. If they do advance beyond these guys, I think it's going to come down to between the Clippers, not the Clippers, sorry, the Suns and the Lakers. That's what it's going to come down to. One of those two teams are going to go to the finals. And you might say, it's like, oh, wait, the Lakers? Well, yeah, again, they're my sleeper team. Quite honestly, they're my biggest sleeper team than over the Golden State Warriors. If Draymond Green is not back, look for the Lakers to go all out. And I think this might be LeBron's last game, or last year. Sorry, not last game, but last year. Guy might most likely will retire, I think, quite honestly. But in any case, if you think that Kawhi is better, and disagree with Stephen A. and all the pundits out there about Kawhi, let me know. Quite honestly, I actually agree with them basically in this case, because like I think if Clippers have overpaid, they have a great owner, they have a great number two, they have great management, great coach. It just sucks that like their superstar is out, and the other superstar that's there, PG, is out as well too. Honestly, and I think it's a big mistake. I don't think it was a mistake, but it was more of a case where like maybe the Clippers need to rebuild a little bit. Unfortunately, again. To the point of like try to position themselves in the draft and bring up get some draft capital, quite honestly. But outside of that, I don't know what else to say. Let me know your thoughts on any of my rants or recap of today's games basically, and what you think about like, should Joel Embiid be suspended? If you don't think he is, then should Draymond Green have been suspended then? Because if you say no to Embiid, then should Draymond Green have been suspended, or vice versa, and going in different facets, or is it a case where like the NBA is playing a double standard, or two, more of a case that the NBA is trying to ship a narrative in the playoffs, sort of creating a script, as people would say. Let me know your thoughts on that. I in the comment section. I do read my comments. I do respond to them when I see them, and get notified about them. And if you do like my videos, and my channel for that matter, please subscribe. That'd be great. And also, again, if you think you enjoy some of my rants, please let me know. And also, I welcome feedback, and I love criticism. As far as like you could even troll me for all like I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Go ahead and troll. I'll troll right back at you anyways too. So trolling is, if that's the case where like you want to start a flame war, we can start a flame war. It doesn't matter to me, basically. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Usually my videos are 15 minutes long. So with that last statement, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.